Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. Again, we want to thank our Patreons for their support. This was a Patreon exclusive from the other day. And here we go. So much going down right now in the last hour, it seems. Here you have a barge has hit the Pelican Island Bridge in Galveston, Texas, causing a partial collapse. Chemicals from the barge are now floating into the water. We'll keep you guys updated on that one. So yet another incident with a barge and a bridge.
Just pure accident, of course.
Yeah, that one that we were talking about before, that major one, they were using explosives to try to dislodge it from place. What could go wrong? What could go wrong in this world? Well, when I saw this is Slovakia. The Prime Minister of Slovakia, Robert Fico, has been shot in public. This comes only days after he formally and publicly rejected the WHO Global Pandemic Accord. Yeah, and it gets me thinking, this is north of the Balkans, but it gets me thinking of Alois Ermeiler's prophecy that there would be three major public assassinations, and then WW3 would start and Russia would roll right through Europe very quickly at that point in time, as well as China coming down into the U.S. and invading the U.S. From Canada and through Alaska. Well, I talk about timelines. We've been saying and hoping that timelines may be changed or averted. Now, this is a little bit north of the Balkans, technically, and he is not dead. At this point, he is in critical, shot multiple times in the chest. Yet the guides had shown us back in December 2022, which we shared with you guys, 1.5 years. And we saw what looked like volcanic activity going on somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, and also a vision of the U.S. being invaded and attacked. That would take us again to somewhere in early June. And when we see this, and I automatically go to that prophecy, it doesn't fit the bill as far as the one that's number 3, because he saw it actually being a stabbing. Alois Ermeiler, and migrants involved in that one. But here, maybe this is number 2. We really don't know if, we really don't know if the Saudi Crown Prince is still alive. And will we ever know when we see him again? Did they find somebody the same size, same build, and they just put a rubber mask on him? Or who knows if you believe in the cloning aspect of it? Will we ever know if that was really just disinformation? What was the purpose of that disinformation, if that was so? Or was it a cover-up because he's actually been taken out? This is part of where you just kind of got to feel into things.
You really do, and this is where learning, how to use your other senses is very helpful, because the information that's fed to us en masse by the mainstream media is just for that. It's for your senses, and it's to lead you in specific directions that are going to be in their favor. So yeah, you really do have to feel into stuff and figure out what is true for you.
Here you go. In December 2023, he called the WHO pandemic treaty nonsense invented by greedy pharma companies. He said one study after another confirms the scandalous consequences of the cure for the plague upon the land program put into effect. And he said things very, very bluntly. And here he is. He's shot. And also, Slovakia will not implement new EU migration rules. In other words, he's gone against the power structure, apparently, time and time again. He was against the war in Ukraine, in favor of negotiations, stopped delivery of weapons to Ukraine, called the regime in Ukraine a Nazi regime, announced a veto for Ukraine to join the EU and NATO, oppose the globalists in Washington, it's more than clear there's going to be a lot of the current power structure and the power structure that has been in place that would not want him around. And then you have this writer, Gerald Cula. He is the assassin suspect number one. It was pretty clear that you can see him in the video of him shooting almost directly point blank, like he was going to go shake his hand or look to shake his hand and pull the gun out and just started firing. He says he committed the assassination attempt because he did not agree with government policy. Interesting here. Was he MK Ultra? Is he just simply somebody that likes the power structure that's been in place and has benefited from that? He's a well-known Slovakian writer and 71 years old. His family says he wasn't in any sort of psychiatric care. They said he had the gun legally, and they didn't know what possessed him to go ahead and shoot.
You look at folks like this, and the power structure is just that. It has a lot of power. So they definitely have the ability to just take this guy out of public eye where he's not seen anymore and put him up on a nice castle for saying thank you for doing their bidding. And then he's never going to be bothered again. And, the media is just going to say, oh, he's in prison.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's been tried. He went to jail, et cetera, et cetera. And meanwhile, he's on that island, with that Steen guy, etc. And here you have several Australian politicians who have now signed a letter calling on the government to reject the WHO pandemic treaty. So they should be very, very cautious of what they do in public, obviously. How's your money being spent? Yes, this is literally Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, a Ukrainian nightclub, stepping up on the stage and doing a little playing. Didn't know he had it in him. But again, all the billions that have gone over to Ukraine and the money laundering situation, so to speak, it's obvious it makes some people happy and they get to live their dreams and get up on stage and play in front of the masses because, again, a lot of these people think they are totally above the law, and they have been above the law because they, again, make the laws. But it is changing, and it is the apocalypse. It's all being unveiled. Meanwhile, massive fires across Mexico. This is from Dutch Sense. As you can see, the smoke arising. And, of course, we also have the Canadian wildfires back at it with toxic air. It's just another summer, and they're pushing that usual agenda. We all hope there's going to be change. We know there is going to be change. You can't stop the change. It just can't get here quick enough for many.
Oh, I agree. It really can't. So on an individual basis, if you don't want to go along with the mainstream, it's like you have to step out of it until other people are able to join you, or they want to join you, or other people are waking up to it. But yeah, the power starts with us. You have to make that change at home inside.
Yes, absolutely. And as you see, another X class. So we've had an X 2.9 is the most recent. This is from a new sunspot area. We had an X 3.4 right before that from 3664. And then, of course, that X 8.7. So, even in the last 48 hours, there's been 5 X-class flares. Things are absolutely ramping up, guys. They are ramping up. So, get your rest. Eat your non-GMO organic version of Wheaties or whatever it is, that gets you going and fired up. Make sure you have fuel for whatever generators you have for backup, and hopefully everybody is as stocked up as possible.
And love on your babies.
Absolutely. Most important part of all, share the love.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.